underrated Roblox games. Something that players are always looking for in hopes of finding a perfect game. But sadly, there is no perfect game. The best thing I can do for you guys is give you my top 10 favorite underrated Roblox games. In this video, I try to cover most genres of games, and we'll be starting from my least favorite, making my way to one of my favorite Roblox games ever. So without further ado, Jays and Longman, let's talk about our first game. Run back! FD5 Bridge Roleplay, in summary, is a very fun game, and I do like it, but it's one of those games that is a sort of one and done type game. Basically, in FD5 Bridge Roleplay, you and a bunch of other people are simply on a bridge. Everything goes to plan, but then someone cuts a supporting wire on the bridge and it all goes down, literally. And that's it. Of course, you will find some pretty funny people and funny things in this game, and every game won't be the exact same, but you can't really play this game for more than like 5 rounds before it gets too repetitive.
Yeah, let's just walk it.
Oh shit. FD5 Bridge Roleplay is pretty bare bones, but nevertheless, this game is really fun, and it would be like 10 times better if we get like 100 people in the game. Or even if the rounds were a bit different, like there was different bridges or different events that happened. So for FD5 Bridge Roleplay, I give it a respectable 6.3 out of 10. Lithos, in summary, is a peaceful game, or peaceful mining game, where you do some mining. But Lithos isn't like other mining games. Lithos combines 2 genres of games, a simulator and horror. If you couldn't really tell by the very bleak and grainy gameplay, Lithos tries to make you fear the mines you go into, adding strange noises and stranger entities. Now in my over hour of playing this game, I only really encountered 1 enemy. And to be honest, if I just spam jumped, I was completely fine. When the entity appeared, I think it was also supposed to be a jump scare, but it sort of just walked up to me, and I was honestly quite confused why a random miner was attacking me. Something I do like about Lithos is how simple it is, but also very rewarding. At the drop-off area where you drop your ores off, there's a sign that shows you the other ores in the mine and how much they sell for, and you wonder if you will find one. I also appreciate in Lithos the progression. As you need more and more money for better gear and upgrades, you tend to go further and further down into the cave, risking being lost or even killed. Now, I didn't really go that far down by myself, but I did see what it looks like, and it gets very dark. Lithos is a very fun game, but when it tries to play into that horror aspect, it feels sort of lacking. But by any means, the game should not be averaging like 10 players. I would at least expect like 500. I also really appreciate the non-existing monetization of this game. There's no ads or anything like that. It's very nice. Something that Lithos could definitely do is play into the lore a little bit. There is lore in Lithos, but if you want to find it, you have to actively go out and look for it. And I didn't even understand it. Maybe for Lithos, you can make a storyline of some sorts and why there are miners who attack you in the cave and stuff like that. You know. Anyway, final score for Lithos, a solid 7 out of 10. Untitled Bakery is a very simple game. Well, very simple once you understand where all of your ingredients are. Untitled Bakery reminds me of that burger game. Now this game is even better than that. In Untitled Bakery, you don't have to drag things around or anything like that. You just have to make some yummy bakery food. I honestly don't have a lot to say about this game. It's fun, it's simple. I think I've said simple in every game so far, by the way. It was very relaxing and laid back compared to some of the games later in this video. So, Untitled Bakery gets a simple 7 out of 10.
Forget about it. Come on, boys. We're about to run this joint.
No big deal. In this game, you and your team every round must end up with one of 2 things. The project or money. Or you can even just die trying. This game at surface level seems very simple, but once you understand what the game is, it can get very confusing very quickly. Thankfully, I do play No Big Deal quite a lot in my free time with my buddies. But you can play No Big Deal pretty much however you want. In No Big Deal, you communicate with other teams using walkie-talkies, which can allow you to do a bunch of stuff. You can lie to them that you have the project, betray them, stuff like that. And the only way to carry around things in this game is with these very suspicious looking briefcases. In No Big Deal, you also can just buy guns, fake money, bombs I'm pretty sure, and a whole bunch of other stuff. No Big Deal also has one of the coolest looking maps in pretty much any Roblox game ever. The map design is just mwah, chef's kiss, very, very well done. No Big Deal averages about 100 concurrent players, but it definitely deserves way more, especially because you can just play this game over and over and over, and something new will happen every time. The only reason No Big Deal is my fourth game of choice is because of how confusing it can be. A game can be complex, that's what makes it fun. But No Big Deal can be really confusing, especially for newcomers, and it can turn them away before all the fun stuff can even happen. So for my suggestion, No Big Deal should probably add a tutorial, or tips even. It would definitely help out new players when playing their first few rounds. And for a lot of these games, they may look really confusing, but if you're looking for a fun game, you just have to give it some time. Get used to the game. All these games on this list are just really cool and interesting. Because they're lower on the list doesn't mean they're worse, it's just some of the games later are just genuinely insane. So these games are really cool, you just need to give them quite a bit of time. Anyway, for No Big Deal, I give it a solid 7.3 out of 10.
Get out of the plate! Ow, eject! Oh.
This game is really well made. I used to play this game a lot back when I got my first PC, and it was really, really fun. Everything about this game is so polished. All the UI is very well made, the games aren't painfully long, and the only real critique I have is that a major part of the game is on some maps only available to 4 people per team. In Airship Assault, a major part of the game is being a pilot. And when being a pilot, you have to be very, very careful because if you die, you have to wait quite a while to spawn back in. And that's if you ever get the chance. As a lot of people, rather than just playing the game, wait for the pilot roles to open up. Something I do appreciate in Airship Assault is that there aren't any ads or any forced monetization whatsoever. There is game passes, which is completely understandable. But if someone wants the pirate bundle, they have to go actively looking for it to buy it. Airship Assault is really, really well made, and I wouldn't change much about this game. Final score, 7.5 out of 10. We are now in the top 5 games. Somehow this viewer guessed that I would play this game. Anyway, Ours is a bit different to the other games on this list. Ours is a roguelike game where you fight waves of enemies and you get more and more upgrades until you either win or, well, die. I used to play Ours on one of my alt accounts quite a bit while back, so I sort of understood the basic premise of the game, but it took me well over half an hour to fully understand what certain attacks and moves did. This game suffers from what I like to call the 3-minute confusion. A lot of people may hear about these games, like the idea, click on them, play for 3 minutes, get really confused, and then just leave. Honestly, the best way I can think a lot of games can combat this is just by simply making a basic tutorial, or even just information about major aspects in the game. And for quite a few of these games, if I wasn't filming a video, I would likely have just stopped playing the game completely. But anyway, Ours is really awesome. In Ours, when attacking, you have to actively strategize when you should move, hit, dash, stuff like that. As when you use an animation to attack, you are in a standstill. So, strategizing when you should hit an enemy is a major part of this game, which I honestly really like. It's different to 99% of combat games on Roblox. So for Ours, I give it an 8.3 out of 10.
Cheeseburger.
We are now in the top 4 games. So this is where things get really hard to critique on. And starting off, we have Robot 64. Robot 64 is what I can guess is based on Mario 64. Its retro game style and simple but very smooth movement definitely helps. I didn't really get a lot of time to play Robot 64, sadly, but Robot 64 has easily the lowest active player count of all the games on this list. As I'm writing the script for this game, the game currently has 7 concurrent players. Honestly, this game doesn't make much sense. Not in as it's confusing or anything, it's probably one of the simplest games on this list, but I just don't understand how this game has so little amount of players. The game gives you a lot of things to do. Not too much though. It's pretty open world and you have freedom to do what you want when you want. The game has a tutorial that is quick and easy, I just don't get it. And that's how the rest of the games are on this list. I'm gonna be honest, Roblox 64 just straight up deserves more attention. If you're bored right now, play Roblox 64. It is so fun and you get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Final score, 8.5 out of 10. Unnamed Shooter was recommended to me by one of my viewers, and so were many more. But out of all the games I was recommended, this one was probably my favorite. In this game, it really is the most bare bones a shooter can get. Literally just point and click. And I honestly love the game for that. The maps are simple, the guns aren't really overpowered or annoying to use, the lobbies aren't that big so it isn't too competitive. Though I only got to play the gun game and snipers only game modes, my opinion may be a little skewed. And also, I won my first full match. I do honestly find this game really cool. And almost relaxing in a way, giving people a break from the sweaty and very competitive Roblox gun games. There also is a lot of replayability, as this game is quick, easy, and you can unlock new skins. There are also 0 things you can buy with Robux. Well, the only things you can buy are donations, which I do really appreciate. I do believe this game used to be relatively big, but now it only averages about 90 to 400 players. Anyway, Unnamed Shooter is really cool. I liked playing it, and I could imagine having a big friend group and getting a private server would be pretty fun. Final score, an 8.9 out of 10. Once again, another viewer somehow knew I would play this game. Combat Initiation is if Ultra Kill met Retro Roblox. I was considering not putting this game on the list at all, as it does sit around the 1,000 player mark, which is better than any other game on this list by far. But Combat Initiation is just so good, super underrated for what it is. Combat Initiation, it has a really deep combat system, allowing you to just zoom around the map and feel like you know what you're doing. This game isn't confusing in any way either. It's very simple, yes, I know. But Combat Initiation is a very simple PvE game. Sure, Combat Initiation can be a little bit difficult, but get a few of your friends or randoms in a lobby and you'll destroy most bosses. For how polished and just cool this game is, it deserves 10 times the amount of active players it has. But of course, my opinion is always skewed. I have played this game quite a lot in my free time. Now, I don't have anything to critique in this game, but maybe creating an easy game mode and or tutorial, even though it probably doesn't need it, would be pretty handy. Anyway, Combat Initiation, really fun. And it's really fun to get good at. Super simple, and it challenges you. Should 100% be more popular. Final score, a 9.4 out of 10. Okay, before we look at the #1 game, let's talk about our honorable mentions. Games that just didn't make the list. For our first honorable mention, we have...
Was the past.
What else is there to say? Okay, for real this time, my honorable mention is Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Blood, Sweat, and Pixels mainly didn't make the list because I already had a shooter on this list and they are both pretty similar. And I also wanted to include one of your guys' games. So I won't talk much about this game, but it is pretty much you are given a random selection of 3 items and you have to try kill as many people as possible. Then when you die, you are given a new random loadout. This game is super well done, like all the games on this list, and it has a lot of replayability. Okay, anyway, this is the one you've been waiting for. The final game that I've hyped up. So what is it? Voidfall is like nothing I've ever played. Let me show you. Voidfall is honestly really hard to explain. There is no game like it. The purpose of this game is to find a habitable wormhole, and you have to travel through these tunnels to try find one. And you can use items, abilities, and much more to try not die. Oh yeah, and it's also multiplayer. For a basic summary of the game, click these red things to move and regain your jumps and dashes. Don't touch these guys. Don't touch these red things, they will hurt you. And can you do that when moving like this? I honestly have no idea how this game isn't averaging like 1,000 players at least. The game has a tutorial, which is very, very useful because I would have not played this game if it didn't have one. The game also has tips about the different enemies on the map. All you have to do is click a few buttons and there you go. I love Voidfall, genuinely one of the coolest games, period. The only thing I would ask is for when in between tunnels, rather than moving at the speed of light still, once you enter a safe zone, your walking speed slows down, just to make traversing a little bit easier. But that honestly is just my preference. I don't think it matters in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, well, do me a favor and support this game. Give it a shot, because maybe you will find a new game that you love. Voidfall final score, 10 out of 10. So that is my list of my favorite underrated Roblox games. If you want to play these games, they're all linked in the description. And if you still somehow have no idea what to play, just play some Minecraft or something. I don't know.